What's up, everyone? Kaiju no Kami here with
Cruellica Kain,
and we are going to be talking about Zenkaiger episode 8.
Different worlds from door to door.
Yes.
So I kind of feel, without knowing any of his feelings, because I asked him to wait until we are on camera, I kind of have a feeling we're going to be diametrically opposed on this particular episode. So, before I give any of my opinions, please tell me what you thought of this episode in just brief synopses.
Okay. I felt all the excitement I had for the ending of last week's episode got petered out because nothing came out of it at the start of this episode.
Which we'll go over.
Because it was just like, oh, that's how we're going to end this. Okay, that's cool, I guess. And then we have Barashitara come down with his adorable monster. And
okay, I don't want a synopsis. I just want to know what you thought of the episode. Did you like it?
No. I don't know. I don't know what my thoughts are on this episode. I liked everything. Well, outside of how I felt like the opening just deflated all the excitement from the end of last week's episode. I enjoyed the stuff with all the doors going to different worlds, especially when the one of them ends up in the interrogation room.
Oh, that was Vroom.
Yeah, Vroom ends up in the interrogation room, and the cop's like screaming at the dude. But then the next time you see them, Vroom is serving them food, and the guy's like making his confession.
So, okay, let's kind of go back to the beginning. We're gonna rewind all the way back to the soap opera moment. So, what he's talking about is at the beginning of the episode, we have all of the mechs from all 44...
No, it's not all 44.
Well, from the prior 44 different series.
There's many different mechs.
Yes. So, you have the 4 individual mechs. They're giant size. Our group, the Zenkaigers, they're all in their regular forms, not in their mech form that they have for battle prior to transforming and combining. So they're standing, staring at all the mechs, and they're like, how are we going to do this? Which I kind of thought was hilarious, because Gaon and Juron, in reference to their own particular series, are like, balls to the wall, we're going to go. And Vroom and Majine are like, no. So I thought that was hilarious.
It was cool to see Denjimon's robot and Bio-Robo done in like new stuff, but I don't like how they're just reusing the old attack footage.
Well, I think they were doing that as
to be cheap.
Kind of.
It was to be cheap.
I'm not even going to argue. But anyways, then you see the mechs just start disappearing in purple smoke. And it's kind of funny because King Wall Guy pounds his fist against table, and he's like, Ijarud, it was just getting good. And
that's exactly how I felt.
It was like, I look at him and he's like, I agree with him.
It's exactly how I felt.
And so it was kind of funny because after all of that happens and their explanation of why it happens, Barashitara and Dortopia come in. And Barashitara basically is deciding at this moment not to be a deadbeat dad. But apparently, he couldn't remember until his son told him which number his mother was as for a wife. So we start with 493.
No, it was 3 something, and then 493.
And then 893.
And then Stacy says actually it was 893.
And it's kind of funny because Stacy is like, no, it was 893. And I'm like, I agree with Majine's comment of, what a creep. Jeez.
But how?
Don't ask.
But how?
Don't ask. Don't ask.
He's a robot.
Okay,
how?
honey, Blade Runner 2049, replicants. That's all I'm going to say.
But they were manufactured.
Don't ask! Please, for the love of gods, don't ask and don't try to demonstrate on camera the birds and the bees for people who might not know every detail.
But it's...
I don't care.
But the gears...
I don't care. Move on.
But the gears...
No! Stop. No, don't try to... Don't... No. Moving on. So then, Dortopia decides to put 5 doors behind each of the Rangers and then do like this big pulse attack. Pushes them all through.
Each door.
And each goes through a door, and it's kind of funny because we're not going to reference all of the doors because it's kind of like a Groundhog's Day with doors. But I like when Juron goes into a cafe and you have this threesome group of love triangle arguing, and Juron grabs a napkin.
One of them was a robot.
Moving on! He then pulls a napkin in front of his face, and he's like, kind of like in that I surrender pose of like, all right, I need to get out of here. And then the interrogation room was hilarious. Majine, her poor soul, gets thrown into a men's bathhouse, which she and the guys, justifiably so, freak out. Gowon, he was kind of funny because my favorite for him is when he sees the statue of the samurai on the horse, and he's like, "Ooh, a horse seeing an old-timey human." I'm like... And then they get going further and further away, and
pyramid power.
I kind of agree with Sekchan of, where are you going? You're going away from the battle.
When they came back, Vroom showing him where he thought he was drowning in the water when he grew giant. He's like, oh wait.
But I honestly have to say, I love the movie theater.
Oh yes, with the aunt or the grandma.
When she goes in and she has her broom and she goes in the movie theater and she's like, maybe this is the God's way of telling me I need to just relax and watch a movie. And I'm like,
yep.
I was like, kindred spirit, I love you. But it's kind of funny because then we get to the final door because we see Stacy walking through a forest and we have no idea.
Well, when Banner Shitara is like, I want to see this. And they're all like, oh, the giant birds, Iago's like, oh, you do care about your son? No, I just want to see how the battle goes.
I know. I was like, wow. Gendo is still a better father than Barashitara. Sorry, this has been an ongoing thing. I'm trying to figure out who's a better father between Goku, Gendo, and a few others.
Heihachi.
So, nevertheless, apparently Stacy has a radar when it comes to Kaito. Apparently he finds Kaito, and Kaito comes out of the door in the most ridiculous outfit. Because basically he has like...
He's got all kinds of different things.
Yeah, from like every culture that he would have visited.
The Statue of Liberty,
He's got a little Earth plush, which I thought was kind of cool. I actually want it. And so they're talking.
Stacy's like, oh, so your parents were taken by Tojitendo or whatever.
Tojirendo.
Well, they're probably dead in a ditch like my mom.
Yeah, that was heartwarming. And then they go through this whole conversation with Kaito saying, I have faith. I have faith in the system, so to speak. And Stacy's like,
have some goddamn faith, Stacy.
And Stacy's like, you know what? This wasn't personal before, but I hate you. I felt like Stacy at that particular moment was like the perfect 5-year-old throwing a tantrum. Of like, you're not giving me my way. I don't like you anymore.
And then he sends Maskman and Fiveman after.
Which you liked.
Well, I liked it when he did Flashman.
Oh, that's true.
And then we have, let's see, okay, this was the other thing. I was really hoping that because we were going to have a mech battle at the beginning of the episode, it meant we wouldn't have a mech battle forced in at the end of the episode, but clearly that was not the case.
Well, okay. To be fair, the mech battle at the end, I actually didn't think it was like...
Well, I didn't think it was like...
Because it was more of a distraction than an actual mech battle.
But I was just hoping that we'd have it at the beginning of the show so that we could get the entire episode without one.
No, I understand where you're coming from, but I actually felt like it worked because Stacy did it. Well, Stacy, in his badassness, decides, I'm going to kill the monster of the week, and I am going to create the giant monster.
Speaking of Stacy, okay, another thing I thought of with his design, besides the Battle Fever J influence, it also makes me think of Akiba Red's outfit a bit.
Oh my god.
Because far away it looks like it has the hair like they did with Akiba Red.
That would be awesome if they turned Akiba Ranger into like a canon Sentai series. Akiba Ranger could be like official. That would be super, super awesome.
And then... So when Stacy summoned Geki Toja and Gosei Great...
Yeah.
I noticed they're actually the actual figure boxes that the figures originally came out in. From the way it looked like.
Oh, because those were newer figures, so you would have seen those boxes. Okay, that makes sense.
And then we have our singing pirate dude.
Okay, this is where I think we're going to argue.
And all I'm thinking of when he was doing his whole thing is the 4Kids One Piece rap.
And this is where we're going to get in arguments. So, once again, if you wanted to see couples argue, you're at the right place. I absolutely love the fact that Kaiser had an entire theme song that he sang as like a pirate canty. I loved it. The fact that he could sing, he could carry a tune, he danced, I
don't know if he could carry a tune. Yeah, I don't know if he could carry a tune. There are a few parts in there where it's like...
Compared to some other Rangers who have sang songs in the past, he was stellar. And I loved it. His outfit, his attitude, his ridiculousness.
Yeah, I looked at you as soon as he appeared. I'm like...
It was perfect!
I just saw your face like... You're like... Ooh.
Everything about Kaiser was fantastic, especially because not only does he look at, because both Kaito and Stacy see the ship coming out of the smoke, so to speak, and they both say what the heck at the same time and look at each other like, do you know what's going on? It was perfect. And then when Kaiser is singing, you cut to Stacy in his all serious and emo-y actions, and Zenkaiger is actually trying to dance along to it. And then when Kaiser says, I want your gears, Zenkaiser's reaction was like, he's all yours, and just quietly steps away. I was like, wow, you're the hero of the show, and you're just gonna back away.
And then he does a dance to transform.
Once again, I loved
it. And he's got a steering wheel on his gun.
I know! Okay, so I like Kyoger. I love the carnival mode. I love the transformations of how they have to do the samba. So this is so my jam. Go ahead. I told you we're going to be diametrically opposed because I love it.
Well, it's hard because I guess I should just be happy that he's not super emo, moody, depressed dude like the last several Six Rangers have been. But at the same time, I'm getting Genta vibes from him, from Shinkenger.
And I like Genta. So.
I hate Genta.
I like Genta.
So,
I like Guy.
Well, I like Guy, but he wasn't over the top. He wasn't depressing. I'm gonna be like all blah. But at the same time, he wasn't all yeah.
He wasn't like oh yeah. He sang. He danced.
This guy was like he was trying to pull out his inner Lucky.
No, he was not like Lucky.
So I'm hoping
bad.
he chills out in the next episode or the episode after. I guess, like I said, I'm just happy he's not I hate everything. I hate you all. I'm gonna just destroy this stuff because I'm so cool and chicks dig loner emo bit.
Well, as an introduction, I loved it because it was so enrapturing.
Now, I
so
did like at the end there when he's like, who are you guys? And they're like, us? Who are you? And then the episode ends. I still think it's too soon for him. Especially because I felt like it took away from Stacy.
But I feel like Stacy, because he came in so late in the episode, because that's the one thing I did fear from watching the trailer for last week when they showed the scenes for the next episode, is I kind of felt like with the way they're doing it,
he was going to appear right in the beginning.
Exactly. The fact that he appeared in basically like the last 3 to 5 minutes of the episode, I was like, okay, at least I still agree it's too soon, but at least it didn't like throw Stacy to the wayside and make him completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
But I do like how it's night and day between Zenkaiger and Zenkaiger because they're both so different from each other. And I'm happy with that. Because you want the human characters to kind of be different from each other rather than carbon copies.
I don't know.
This is one of my favorite episodes of the series so far.
Even better than last week's?
Not better than last week's, but it's one of my favorites.
I like last week's better. And I like the garbage episode better.
I just feel as though this was a lot of fun. I think it was engaging, and it also brought something still a little bit different for your Sixth Ranger, as you were talking about. Because he's not the fanboy Guy was, but he's not, like you said, the overly serious pseudo-leader type of the Sixth Ranger. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Kira Majors for Takamichi.
Speaking of which, we had Kira Major powers versus Flashman, which was kind of cool for the 2 seconds it mattered.
Yeah, but it kind of would work together, though.
But I don't know. But it would be interesting, though. Is Zenkaiger pirating the Pirate Sentai?
Well, he did use number 35.
I know, but I'm like, yeah, is he pirating the Gokaigers?
Maybe. I kind of felt like he was a little bit of a mix between Marvelous and Guy. Like, for the costume design.
I don't know. I guess his song, as long as they don't go overboard with him singing the song every time. Okay,
I will agree. If he sings every
If it's
episode,
just there for his introduction, then that's fine.
Or occasional song. I'd like to watch him dance.
But if he sings every episode, every time he appears, that's going to get old pretty quick.
Unless he does it differently. Like if he does a different song each time. That would be cool. If it's not the same song. Because that's one of my problems with other tokusatsu series where you have a character, i.e. Sailor Moon. They'll play something and they play the same damn song throughout the entire If I hear C'est la vie one more time...
Or that song that Zenkaiger played on the piano, that they played in a Gito and a billion other things. But, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you didn't hate as much as I thought you did. I thought you were going to tear it to shreds.
That's because when you were talking about it, I'm like, well, I am glad he's not super depressing emo-ish, but I don't know how I feel right now.
I'm so proud of you. You don't have like a ton of rage. You're actually like relaxing a little bit on Junko compared to like the last episode, which people did make in the comments of you can't use it's Junko as an excuse, which I do agree.
I'll use whatever I want as an excuse.
But since she wrote the screenplay for this episode, I actually have to say I'm kind of pretty impressed because compared to, as you said for other series, so far the episodes that she has written a screenplay for, which have been a number of them, she's done a fairly good job.
She should have done all 8.
Well, that's what I mean. So she's proven that she knows what she's doing. And so I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt that there may have been extenuating circumstances for the other series.
Whatever.
And you never know. There's always those times where a shit director can make a diamond of a series. Just like there is an incredible director or showrunner that can make a terrible series.
But no, I didn't hate the episode. I'm
so proud of you, Javi.
I just don't feel it had the same... Well, it was fun, but I don't feel it had the same impact the last 2 episodes had. Especially with the way the last episode was.
Well, I don't think it's meant to. And I think it's unfair to assume that each episode should have the same impact.
Yeah, but if this was technically like part 2 from last week, it should still maintain the same type of tone that the episode last week had.
I don't necessarily count it like part 2.
Well, it is part 2 because it started off right where the last episode left off. With the mech battle. That's part 1. This was part 2. Next week's part 3.
Well, as apparently I get hiccups, I still think of them as kind of like all-encompassing themselves.
No. It was part 2.
But I also feel like we did still get some subtle character development for all of the characters, including Stacy, because obviously we learned a little bit more about his backstory. So the rumors that people had were true that he is Bar Shatara's son. I also feel like having each person go into their little doorway continuously kind of helped to highlight them as characters a little bit more. Gawan still has this fascination for humanity, which can be a weakness.
Then you had Juran going into a bad green screened lion background where he's like, oh, go on. Oh, wait.
Yes.
And then he actually does go into a green screen background.
Oh, yes, which I thought was like a Japanese version of My Little Pony. I was like, wait, did he actually go into a cartoon? Oh, no, he's in a green screen. And then having Vroom go into an area where he feels like he's going to be of benefit.
Oh, the dojo. When the guy's like, oh, are you interested? I am, but I'm not doing it right now. I've got more important things to do.
And then Majine, I think it was nice for her because it kind of set her apart where she was able to go around the world, especially with the pyramid, because that's such a magical place, so having it there. I still thought, like you said earlier, pyramid power! I'm like, I just wanted to see, like, something from O Ranger.
That's all I really got for this episode. I don't really have too much thoughts beyond that because I don't really know. I'm still processing it.
And you want to do a review immediately after.
Yes, but it was probably better that way anyway.
Yeah. But it looks like for the next episode, we're going to see a little bit more of Zenkaiger. Finally, we'll know what his actual name is.
And his assistant.
Who looks super familiar.
I don't know if she is.
So, hopefully, by the time we get to next week's episode, we'll do some research and find out who she is. But, admittedly, she looks super familiar. Because she kind of reminded me of the girl from Double, but I'm like, that girl would be too old now.
Yeah, that new girl's too young for that.
Well, not that she'd be too old, but like you said, much younger. But it'll be interesting to see how this works out, because I'm curious of how the dynamic is going to be. If this is going to be a Sixth Ranger that will stick around continuously from now on.
Oh, I'm sure what it'll be is he'll start out like, I'm too good to join your team. And then after a few episodes go by, take me with you.
Well, the other thing I'll be curious about with this Sixth Ranger, because they are coming in so early, is...
how many Rangers we're going to get later on?
Oh, yes. Because this... And I wonder if the reason they brought in another human along with Stacy is because you only had, up until episode 6, so to speak, like near the end of 6, you only had one human character for the main fighting characters. So bringing in additional humans probably helps balance it out.
Do you think that because they've made it that Stacy's part human, part machine, it allows them so they can give him a robot form later on?
I'm kind of hoping so. I'm kind of hoping similar to Cure Major.
Or do you think he's going to turn good before that happens?
So I'm actually hoping, similar to Cure Major, the human counterpart, so to speak, does not turn good. I actually want him to stay evil. I know that probably won't happen, but I kind of think it would be a nice trend to have, that it verifies that not all human villains, so to speak, have to be redeemed. That they don't... But if they do redeem him, I kind of hope we're going to get some sort of a redemption arc where he goes further down the deep end before he gets pulled into the good side. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't really have a thought. I think he's going to turn good sooner rather than later.
Well, it'll be interesting because a bunch of his gears have already been destroyed. We don't know which teams, except for 10.
Just Flashman.
Just Flashman. We don't know the rest of the teams.
I'm going to guess it was the ones he used in this episode. Flashman, Five-Man, Maskman.
But there were more than just those few. It looked like there was about 7 or 8.
Well, it could also be the Ghost Sager and Geki Ranger gears because he used their mechs.
That's true. So hopefully we'll get to see how that plays out. And I wonder if this Sixth Ranger is going to be similar to Guy from Zenkaiger, if he is just going to be able to harness the Sixth Ranger's powers.
I hope not. I don't want him to harness, just be a repeat of Guy.
Well, I want him to be a repeat of Guy, but we don't know. Obviously, we don't know what we don't know. But,
the only people that should know are the people in charge of the show.
Well, and a good writer doesn't always know what they're going to do because they only have like an outline of how they want to proceed.
Okay. But yeah, with all that said, I've got nothing.
I'm looking forward to next week's episode. And once again, I'm still enjoying this show super, super much. And I'm kind of happy that we didn't give up after episode 2 where you decided to create a Twitter war.
Still amazed that happened. I have not been able to repeat that.
And nor should you.
I've been trying a few times, just trying a little poke. No one's biting.
That's because they watch these.
Poke.
And they can see that you're probably not truly legitimate, that you're trolling.
Poke. Poke.
But with that said, thank you for joining us. And if you like what we do, please go ahead and hit the like button, the subscribe button, the bell notification if you want to know when we're going to have more videos like this or any of our other reviews. And also you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Kaiju no Kami, Facebook at Kaiju no Kami, Patreon at Kaiju no Kami, and our website is also creativitybydesignllc.com. And if you want to follow me, I am on YouTube at Cruellica Kain, as well as Facebook at Kelly Kain, and Twitter at Cruellica Kain.
I thought Twitter was Kruk.
No, it's Cruellica Kain.
Okay.
It's
at Cruellica.
Yes.
Alright, until next time.